I believed for years that your dreams meant absolutely nothing. I taught that they meant nothing. I would stand in front of my colleagues and argue that every vision you have at night, every flash of gold, every key you hold in your hand while you sleep, was just neurological noise, random firings of a tired brain. But I was wrong. I was entirely and painfully wrong. This is not a story about what I discovered. It is a story about the arrogance I had to abandon to finally understand what is happening to you. Because I know the exact feeling that brought you here. You keep dreaming about open doors. You dream of heavy golden keys resting perfectly in your hands. You dream of rushing, clear water pouring through dry landscapes. And in those dreams, there is this overwhelming sense of peace, this burning conviction that you are called for financial greatness, that God has chosen you to build something massive for your family. The vision is so clear, so undeniable, that you can almost feel the weight of the responsibility in your chest. But then you wake up. You wake up, and the harsh sunlight hits the room, and reality crashes down on you with a sickening thud. You check your bank account on your phone before you even get out of bed, and the balance is zero, or negative. You are barely able to pay your rent this month. The contrast between the absolute abundance of your night and the crushing poverty of your morning makes you feel like you are losing your mind. It feels like God is playing a cruel, elaborate trick on you, promising you the entire world while you sleep and leaving you completely stranded in reality. You ask yourself why. Why would God plant a vision of overflow and provision inside your heart during the night if you are going to face debt collectors during the day? Are you crazy for believing a simple dream of water and bread could be the blueprint for a financial turnaround? Or is it just your own ego, your own desperation for an escape, projecting pathetic wishes onto your sleep? I wrestled with this exact contradiction during the middle years of my career. I was steeped in rigorous academic skepticism. I was trained to dissect ancient texts with cold clinical logic. In that world, if someone came to us and said they had a divine dream of wealth, we would dismiss them immediately as delusional or manipulative. We relied on the activation synthesis theory of modern neuroscience, the idea championed by scientists like Hobson, that dreams are merely the brainstem firing random electrical impulses. The conscious mind, they argued, is just desperately trying to weave those random signals into a coherent narrative. Apophenia, they called it. The human tendency to mistakenly perceive connections and meaning between entirely unrelated things. I bought into that entirely. I built my early career on it. But there was a tension I could not resolve. A tension that eventually made me sick to my stomach. You feel it in your bones. You wake up with the residual warmth of that promise lingering on your skin. You can almost taste the bread. You can almost feel the cold metal of the key. And for a fraction of a second, before your conscious mind boots up, you believe it. You believe that today is the day the door opens. Today is the day the water flows into the desert of your financial life. And then the phone rings. It is a block number. You already know it is the collection agency, or you look at the stack of unpaid bills on the kitchen counter, you look at the eviction notice, or the final warning from the utility company, and the physical weight of that reality crushes the spiritual high of the dream so fast that it leaves you breathless. You sit on the edge of the bed, and you wonder if you are losing your grip on reality. You wonder if the dreams are just a coping mechanism, a psychological defense erected by a mind that is too fragile to accept failure. You think, maybe I am just desperate. Maybe I am projecting my pathetic wishes onto my sleep because I cannot bear to face the waking world. You start to resent the dreams. You start to hate falling asleep because the promise is so beautiful and the awakening is so brutal. I was spending my days analyzing ancient manuscripts, translating documents that were thousands of years old. And I kept finding the exact same patterns, the exact same symbols, and it was not random noise. I was reading highly structured, remarkably consistent accounts of divine dream directives that completely upended the lives of the people who had them. I almost gave up trying to reconcile it. It was late one evening in a dusty archive room. I was exhausted, frustrated, and ready to abandon the entire line of research. The academic consensus was safe. It was comfortable. Acknowledging that God might actually communicate financial blueprints through dreams would destroy my professional credibility. My colleagues would laugh at me. I remember sitting there looking at a stack of untranslated parchments, thinking that if I just closed the box, I could keep my worldview intact. But then I opened a text by Philo of Alexandria, written around the year 30. Philo was brilliant, and he wrote something that stopped me completely dead in my tracks. He established that God-sent dreams use foundational physical symbols to communicate elevated spiritual and economic destinies to human souls. He talked about water, not just any water, but rushing, living water. In your dream, water is not a random image generated by a tired brainstem. According to Philo, it represents the flow of divine wisdom, the rational logos pouring into your life. And he talked about bread, the most simple, essential sustenance. Philo argued that in a divine dream, simple bread represents raw sustenance that you are meant to refine into true structural wealth. Wait, let me rephrase that. Because that sounds like a metaphor, and it is not a metaphor. Philo was saying that God uses the vocabulary of your physical world to hand you a strategic plan. When you dream of water, God is not just telling you that you will be refreshed. He is showing you that you have access to a vast, unmanifested conscious resource. You are being given the intellectual capital to solve problems that others cannot see. Carl Jung, centuries later, would echo this exact sentiment in Man and His Symbols, arguing that flowing water in dreams represents the vast unconscious capacity for mastery. And when you dream of keys, Jung noted, you are not just seeing a piece of metal. A key is the universal archetype for access to unlocked potential. It means a barrier has been removed, but only if you choose to turn the lock. But this still does not answer the agonizing question. The question that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. Why the delay? Why the empty bank account? If God is giving me the key, why is the door still locked? I remember the smell of that archive room, old paper, dust, and the heavy silence of centuries. I was sitting there, surrounded by the physical evidence of people who had experienced exactly what you are experiencing. People who lived 2,000 years ago, who wrote down their visions of water and keys and bread on parchment, and then went out and completely altered the economic landscape of their cities. I was trained to dismiss them. The academic culture I was surrounded by taught me that religion was the opiate of the masses, and dreams were just the brain's way of taking out the garbage at night. We had an answer for everything. We called it the activation synthesis hypothesis. We said that during REM sleep, the pons sends random electrical signals to the cortex, and the cortex, which is a meaning-making machine, desperately tries to stitch those random signals into a story. We said it was all an illusion, a biological accident. But as I sat in that archive translating Philo of Alexandria, the academic armor started to crack. Philo was not some uneducated mystic. He was one of the greatest minds of the ancient world. He understood logic, philosophy, and statecraft. And he was absolutely convinced that dreams were the primary vector for divine economic strategy. When Philo talked about water, he was tapping into a profound understanding of how God provisions his people. Water in the ancient world was the difference between life and death. It was not a luxury. It was the foundation of all agriculture, all commerce, all survival. To dream of rushing water meant that the source had been uncapped. It meant that the flow of divine wisdom was being directed into your specific situation. This is where I had to face the most uncomfortable truth of my entire research. The reason you are frustrated is because you have been taught a lie about what a prophetic dream actually is. We have this idea, perpetuated by modern prosperity gospel, that a dream of wealth is a lottery ticket, that God is handing you a magical promise, and all you have to do is passively wait for the money to fall from the sky. We are taught to wait for the breakthrough. I wanted to believe it was that simple. I wanted to tell you that the dream means your struggle is over. It is not. It is more complicated. And that is what bothers me. I spent months trying to find a loophole. I looked at the skeptics again. The critics contend that symbols like bread, water, and keys are so broad and universal that they trigger the Barnum effect, causing anyone to project their own wishes onto them. They say you want money, so you dream of keys, and then you wake up and assume God is going to make you rich. And if that were true, it would be a tragedy. It would mean that your deepest spiritual experiences are just a cruel trick of your own psychology. But historical evidence does not support the skeptics. Dr. Kelly Bulkley, in his exhaustive comparative history of dreaming in world religions, proved that biblical dream traditions uniquely treat dreams not as passive omens, but as divine callings to economic leadership and strategic stewardship. Look at Joseph. Joseph did not have a dream and then wake up rich. He had a dream, and then he spent years in prison, years in slavery, before he built the economic infrastructure that saved Egypt from starvation. The dream was the architecture. The reality was brutal, unyielding work. I found the definitive answer not in a modern pulpit, but in the writings of Moses Maimonides, the great philosopher from the 12th century. In his Guide for the Perplexed, Maimonides dissects the mechanics of divine prophecy and dreams. He demonstrates that a high-clarity calling dream occurs when the intellectual overflow of God flows into a perfected imaginative faculty during sleep. Listen to that carefully. Intellectual overflow. God is not giving you a prediction of the future. He is giving you a strategy. He is giving you a cognitive breakthrough. Modern neurocognitive research by scholars like William Domhoff has actually proven this mechanism, even if they strip it of its divine origin. High-intensity, coherent dreams are not random. They are complex problem-solving activations of the default mode network. They unlock solutions that your conscious waking anxiety suppresses during the day. You see, the modern church has done you a terrible disservice. We have adopted this hyper-spiritualized, completely passive version of faith. We stand in pulpits and tell people to just believe, to just receive the blessing, as if God is a cosmic vending machine. We tell people that if they dreamed of a key, it means God is going to magically open the door of the bank vault and hand them the money. And when that does not happen, when the bank account stays empty, people lose their faith. They walk away from God because they think He broke His promise. But God never broke His promise. We just misunderstood the nature of the promise. Maimonides understood this. Moses Maimonides, the Rambam, writing in the 12th century, was a physician, a philosopher, and a master of Jewish law. He did not have time for magical thinking. In his Guide for the Perplexed, he explained that divine overflow does not bypass the human intellect. It utilizes it. When God wants to elevate you financially, He does not drop a bag of gold on your roof. He drops a blueprint into your imagination. He gives you the intellectual overflow required to see the market differently, to solve a problem nobody else is solving, to build a system that generates wealth. The dream of the key is not the wealth itself. It is the authorization to go and build the wealth. When you see a key in your dream, God is not saying He will magically open the door for you while you sit on the couch complaining about your boss. He is handing you the intellectual and spiritual blueprint to forge that key yourself in the waking world. That is the price of the dream. I entered this research wanting a clean answer. I wanted to tell you that your dreams are either absolute, divine guarantees of effortless wealth or complete, psychological nonsense. What I found was a third option, and it requires something terrifying from you. The dream is not a guarantee. It is a demand. It is a calling to extreme stewardship, strategic clarity, and ethical diligence. If you dream of bread and water, but you refuse to learn financial literacy, if you refuse to work with integrity, if you shrink back from the discipline required to build a business, the dream will remain just a dream. It will become a torment to you. You will look at your empty bank account and feel betrayed by God, when in reality, God handed you the architectural plans and you refused to buy the bricks. Think about Madam C.J. Walker, born Sarah Breedlove into extreme poverty, the daughter of former slaves. She was losing her hair to a severe scalp disease. She was facing absolute financial ruin. She prayed desperately for a way out, and she testified that God answered her through a vivid dream. In that dream, a figure revealed a specific formula of African ingredients and remedies to her. Now, pay attention to what happened next. She did not wake up a millionaire. She woke up with a formula, a blueprint. She had to physically source the ingredients. She had to test them. She had to verify their efficacy. She had to walk door to door selling her product, facing rejection after rejection. She had to meticulously build a manufacturing empire because she took the dream not as a magic spell, but as a divine mandate for labor. She became America's first self-made female millionaire, empowering thousands of other women along the way. The dream gave the blueprint, but human labor and integrity had to build the vessel. I was going to say that most people do not understand this. No, that is the wrong language. Let me correct myself. It is not that they do not understand it. It is that they do not want to bear the weight of it. I did not want to bear the weight of it. During those middle years of my career, sitting in that archive, looking at Maimonides and Philo, I realized that if I accepted this truth, I could no longer be a detached academic observer. There was a safe distance between me and the ancient texts. That distance vanished. I had to look at my own life, my own dreams, and ask what I was failing to build. This is why the neuroscience actually proves the theology, if you have the eyes to see it. Dr. William Domhoff and other cognitive researchers have shown that dreams are highly complex problem-solving states. When your waking mind is paralyzed by anxiety, by the unpaid bills, by the fear of failure, your default mode network shuts down. You cannot see the way out. But when you sleep, the anxiety centers quiet down, and the vast, unmanifested capacity of your unconscious mind goes to work. God uses that state. He uses the quiet of the night to bypass your waking fear and implant the strategic architecture you need. But here is the terrifying part. Here is the part that made me close those books in the archive and stare at the wall in horror. If the dream is a blueprint, it means the responsibility is entirely on me. If Madam C.J. Walker had woken up from her dream of the hair formula and said, "Wow, what a beautiful promise from God," and then gone back to sleep, we would never know her name. She would have died in poverty. The dream did not make her a millionaire. The dream gave her the intellectual capital to become a millionaire through grueling, relentless labor. She had to mix the chemicals in her sink. She had to face the humiliation of selling door to door. She had to manage the logistics of a growing empire. You cannot unlearn this. I wish I could tell you that you can go back to thinking your dreams are just random thoughts. I wish you could not know this. Not because it is terrible, but because now, every time you close your eyes and see that rushing water, every time you hold that golden key in your sleep, you will know that God is calling you to work. You will know that you are not crazy. You are chosen. But being chosen for financial greatness does not mean you are chosen for an easy life. It means you are chosen for extraordinary responsibility. Remember at the beginning, when I said I used to believe your dreams meant nothing? I was right about one thing. If you do nothing with them in the waking world, they will amount to nothing. The dream is flawless. The variable is you. I started this journey trying to prove that divine dreams of wealth were an illusion. What I found was the exact opposite. They are the most real practical directives you will ever receive, and in a way, that is much more intimidating. The question is no longer whether God is speaking to you. The question is whether you have the discipline to execute what He is showing you. I do not know what you are going to do with this, but I know I could not keep it to myself. I had to tell you, because someone out there is holding a key in their dreams and crying over their bills in the morning. And you need to know that the gap between the two is not a punishment. It is the construction zone. It is where you build the vessel to hold the overflow. If you have stayed with me this far, and this kind of discovery resonates with you, subscribing tells the algorithm to send you more. Because I have many more stories from these ancient texts that simply will not let me go, and we need to uncover them together. Tell me if I am exaggerating. Have you ever had a dream so vivid it felt like an instruction manual, only to wake up and not know how to build it? Leave a comment below. I want to know I am not the only one wrestling with this. That is the price of the dream. I call it the loss of simplicity. You can no longer blame the devil for your poverty, and you can no longer wait for God to rescue you with a miracle. You are the miracle in motion. The dream of the key means you are the one who has to put the key in the lock and turn it. And turning it might take 10 years of sweat. I look back at my younger self, so confident that dreams were just neurological garbage. I was arrogant, but I was also safe. It is safe to believe that God does not speak to us, because if He does not speak, He does not demand anything. When you accept that the rushing water in your dream is real, you have to start digging the irrigation canals in your waking life to catch it. You have to learn how to manage money. You have to learn how to lead people. You have to learn how to build systems. You have to become the kind of person who can steward the overflow without being destroyed by it. I do not know what specific door your key is meant to open. I do not know what business you are supposed to build or what problem you are supposed to solve. But I know this. The gap between the absolute abundance of your dream and the crushing poverty of your morning is not a sign of God's absence. It is the exact location of your calling. Think about the implications of this. Think about what it means for your daily life. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, you are going to face the exact same reality you faced today. The bank account will not have magically multiplied overnight. The creditors will still be calling. The structural barriers in your life will still be standing. And if you hold on to the childish passive theology of the prosperity gospel, tomorrow will crush you. You will look at the dream of the key, and you will throw it away in disgust, believing it was all a lie. But what if you wake up tomorrow and you view that dream through the lens of Maimonides? What if you view it through the lens of Philo? You will get out of bed, and you will look at that empty bank account, and you will say, "This is the raw material. This is the unformed clay. The dream gave me the architecture. Now I have to lay the bricks." The people who achieve financial greatness, the ones who actually build generational wealth and change the trajectory of their families, are not the ones who never have doubts. They are the ones who learn to tolerate the agonizing tension between the vision of the night and the reality of the day. They learn to live in the gap. They let the frustration fuel their execution, rather than paralyzing their faith. When St. Thomas Aquinas analyzed dreams in the 13th century, he made a crucial distinction. He separated unlawful divination, the desperate attempt to magically predict the future, from authentic divine revelation. He argued that God frequently utilizes sleep to imprint directives for future action when the bodily senses are quieted. Did you catch that? Directives for future action, not predictions of future wealth. Directives for future action. The key in your dream is a directive. It is an instruction. It is God telling you, the barrier you thought was permanent is actually just locked, and I am giving you the authorization to unlock it. But you have to do the heavy lifting. I can tell you that the ancient masters never, not once, viewed a dream of water or bread as an excuse to stop working. They viewed it as a command to work harder, to work smarter, to build the aqueducts and the storehouses. When you dream of bread, it is the most profound symbol of human divine partnership. God provides the grain. He provides the rain and the soil. But human hands have to harvest it, thresh it, grind it, knead it, and bake it. Bread does not occur naturally in the wild. Bread is a technology. It is the result of human labor applied to divine provision. So when God shows you bread in a dream, He is not saying He will feed you while you sleep. He is saying, I have given you the raw materials. Now get up and bake the bread. Get up and build the business. Get up and create the value that the world needs. Let me tell you something personal. Something I rarely share because it exposes the hypocrisy of my early academic career. I was so convinced that the rigorous academic skepticism of my university training was the only valid lens. I dismissed anything that could not be measured in a laboratory. But years later, staring at these ancient texts, the intellectual arrogance of that training shattered in a single moment. I realized that the divine overflow, the intellectual blueprints that Maimonides described, were not just theoretical concepts. They were real, tangible directives that had been guiding people for millennia. And I had been too blind, too educated beyond my own intelligence, to see it. It is an unresolved mystery that continues to intrigue me to this very day. I still do not fully understand how a mind asleep can grasp strategies that elude us awake, but the evidence is overwhelming. That was the moment I stopped being just a researcher and became a student of the mystery. I stopped trying to debunk the dreams and started trying to decode them. And what I decoded is exactly what I am handing to you today. The validation you have been desperately seeking. You are not crazy. The visions of abundance, the rushing water, the golden keys, they are not random neural firings, and they are not pathetic psychological projections. They are the authentic, structural language of God, bypassing your conscious anxiety to hand you the strategic architecture for your financial turnaround. But you have to accept the whole truth. You have to accept the burden of the blueprint. If you are waiting for a rescue, you will die waiting. But if you are willing to take the dream as a mandate, if you are willing to wake up from the vision of the key and start forging the metal in the fire of daily discipline, there is no limit to what you can build. You have been chosen. The dream is the proof. Now, you have to prove yourself worthy of the dream. You have to become the architect of the vision you were given in the dark. I do not expect everyone to understand this. Most people want the lottery ticket. Most people will click away from this video and go, look for someone who will promise them easy money and magical breakthroughs. And that is fine. Let them go. But if you are still here, if you are still listening, it is because you already knew this deep down. You knew that the dream was too heavy, too profound, to just be a magic trick. You knew it was a calling, and now you know what to do with it. Let us pause for a second. Let us really examine what it means to be chosen for this, because the word chosen gets thrown around a lot in spiritual circles, usually as a badge of superiority or an excuse for entitlement. People say, I am chosen for wealth, and they wear it like a crown they did not earn. But in the ancient texts, being chosen was never a luxury. It was a terrifying responsibility. When God chose someone in the biblical narrative to carry an economic destiny, He was not giving them a vacation. He was drafting them into a war. Look at Solomon. We associate Solomon with unimaginable wealth, with gold shields and ivory thrones. We associate him with the ultimate financial greatness. But when God appeared to Solomon in a dream at Gibeon, what did Solomon ask for? He did not ask for the gold. He asked for an understanding heart to judge the people. He asked for the intellectual capital to manage the massive, crushing responsibility of the kingdom. The wealth was the byproduct of the wisdom. The wealth was the physical manifestation of his capacity to steward complex systems. When you dream of keys and water, God is asking you the same question he asked Solomon. Are you ready for the responsibility? Are you ready to manage the complexity? Are you ready to handle the betrayals, the failures, the sleepless nights, and the crushing pressure of building something that outlasts you? Because if you are not, the wealth will destroy you. I have seen it happen. In my years of research, I've studied the historical accounts of people who received the blueprints but refused to build the character. They acquired the wealth, and it crushed them. It ruined their families, it distorted their minds, and it left them more impoverished in spirit than when they had nothing. The delay you are experiencing right now, the agonizing gap between the dream and the reality, is not a punishment. It is the grace of God. It is the incubation period. It is the time where you are being forced to develop the resilience, the financial literacy, and the ethical grounding required to carry the weight of the gold. If God gave you the manifestation of the dream tomorrow, would you even know how to manage it? Would you know how to structure the taxes? Would you know how to hire the right people? Would you know how to protect it from parasites? The empty bank account is your training ground. It is where you learn to manage the pennies so you can eventually manage the millions. It is where you learn the discipline of stewardship. So do not despise the struggle. Do not let the contrast between the night's vision and the morning's poverty break your spirit. Let it forge you. Every time you wake up from that dream of the rushing water, let it be a reminder that the reservoir is full and it is waiting for you to finish digging the trenches. Every time you see the key, let it remind you that the door is real, but you have to walk up to it and turn the lock. This is the loss of simplicity. This is the price of the dream. You can no longer be a victim of your circumstances. You can no longer complain that the economy is rigged, or that you do not have the right connections, or that life is unfair. Because you have the blueprint. You have the access code downloaded directly into your consciousness by the architect of the universe. The excuses are dead. I sat in that archive, staring at the words of Maimonides and Philo and Aquinas, and I realized that I had spent my early career hiding behind my academic credentials. I had used my intellect as a shield to avoid the terrifying vulnerability of actually stepping into the arena and building something real. It was easy to critique other people's dreams from the safety of an office. It was safe to call it all neurological noise. But safety is an illusion, and playing small is a sin against the potential that was placed inside you. I had to abandon my safety. I had to let the ancient texts interrogate me, strip me of my arrogance, and force me to confront my own calling. And now I am forcing you to confront yours. You are not crazy. The dreams are real. The calling is real. The financial greatness you see when you close your eyes is not a fantasy. It is a prophecy waiting for an architect. But the architect is you. The blueprint is on the table. The materials are in the quarry. The tools are in your hands. What are you going to build? I know this is not the comfortable message you might have wanted to hear. I know it would have been easier if I told you to just buy a crystal, say a manifestation mantra, and wait for the checks to arrive in the mail. But I respect you too much to lie to you. And the ancient texts demand more respect than to be reduced to cheap magic tricks. This is the real work. This is the ancient path. It is steep, it is difficult, and it is incredibly lonely at times. But it is the only path that leads to true, enduring greatness. Tell me if I am exaggerating. Have you ever had a dream so vivid it felt like an instruction manual, only to wake up and not know how to build it? Leave a comment below. I want to know I am not the only one wrestling with this.